We did few cases this month. We did few cases with minimal invasive, and we have ordered an instrument for minimal invasive. And most probably we will get all the instruments. At present we have a demo set with us. We did 2 back-to-back MICAS surgery and 1 mitral valve. So why minimal invasive? If you see all other specialties, they are going in a big way in minimal invasive, like laparoscopic, gastrointestinal surgery, hepatobiliary and pancreatic, so almost replace open procedures. And even gynecology, spine, neurosurgery, pelvic surgery, thoracic surgery, these specialties have progressed in a minimal invasive in a much way which we have not even imagined when we were studying general surgery. But why not in cardiac surgery? Why cardiac surgery is lacking in minimal invasive? Because the heart is a moving structure. Most of the time we require a cardiopulmonary bypass support for intracardiac procedures like replacement of valve or repairing congenital defects. Safety is the most important priority in our mind. Because in all other specialty, even if there is some problem, patient will go home. Lulo, Lamro, Kano, Nako, Chuko, patient will get that. Whereas in our specialty, only 2 things can happen. It is like expressway. Once you are in expressway, there is no U-turn. Either patient will go home or patient will go up. There is no in-between stage. So safety is very important in our specialty. Most of the cardiac surgery, apart from the routine cardiac surgery, it is very complex. Visibility is a major issue, and instrumentation. Because most of the instrument which is required for a minimal invasive, they are long instruments, and accessibility inside the heart is very difficult. But now a lot of development has occurred in our specialty also. So if you see the standard since last 55 years, the coronary bypass surgery is there for coronary revascularization. If you compare all modality of coronary bypass or PTCA, whatever it is, but still even after 55-60 years, the coronary bypass grafting is remained the gold standard, and along with which all others surgical or PTCA or ECCP or all these things are compared. The CABG is the gold standard. So traditionally we do CABG on pump, then the op-cap on pump beating heart means you put the patient on heart-lung machine, you don't give cardioplegia, you keep the heart beating and do the surgery. That is another way of doing on pump beating heart surgery, because you are not giving ischemic arrest to the heart. So results are compared to the CABG on pump with the traditional cardioplegia is much better. In minimal invasive we have 3 varieties. One is mid-cap, another is T-cap and another is R-cap. So any surgeon who passed from MCH or DMD training, they usually do CABG on pump, then they graduate to off-cap surgery, then they graduate to mid-cap, and then they graduate to T-cap, and then ultimately R-cap. R-cap is basically robotic assist. Now if you see all these 3, the mid-cap can be done on pump or off pump. T-cap, usually it is done on pump. Off pump is very rare. And robotic is almost everywhere it is on pump. So MICAS is also known as cosmetic cardiac surgery, keyhole surgery, mid-cap, minimal access cardiac surgery. These are different names of MICAS. So if you see in standard traditional stenotomy, incision is around 30 centimeters, whereas in that you have a direct incision. Whereas in mid-cap it is around 2 to 3 inches, around 10 to 12 centimeters, and the direct vision. If you go a little bit smaller incision mid-cap with the video camera, reduce the incision size by another 1 or 2 inches, and it is a video assisted. Then in TCAV and RCAV, the pots are only 1 centimeter size, but you have a 5-6 pots, and one of the pot you have to insert a camera, so it is not a direct visa. And this robotic is also known as telemanipulation. So, based on type of bypass, based on grafts, like total venous revascularization, you use all vein grafts. Total arterial revascularization, you use all arterial grafts. Total arterial revascularization with a complementary venous grafting. Suppose I have done Lima to LAD and radial graft, or Lima on a diagonal OM and PDA, but I am not happy with the Lima to LAD graft, or there is a between the mid and distal LAD there is another block is there, and you have to put one more graft on a distal LAD. And in that situation, if I put one more graft on a same system, a venous graft, then it is known as a complementary venous graft. Then the TAR, Lima and radial composite Y graft or RRA to aorta. Then TAR, total arterial revascularization with the Lima and Lima. And hybrid revascularization, like you do left-sided vessel with the bypass and right-side vessel you do angioplasty. Or a difficult OM you do angioplasty, and rest you do a bypass surgery. Sometimes it happens in a severe bad LV, very bulky heart, or there is some adhesion behind. Sometimes the vessel is intramyocardial, it is not visible on surface. So basically all this cardiac surgery, the major trauma is because of the incision, how you go in, how you come out. Another thing is another trauma is the cardiopulmonary bypass. The strategy of MICAS is to reduce this trauma, and it eliminates it focus on reducing and eliminating the surgical trauma while making effective and long-lasting repair. With this minimal invasive, what can be done in routine scenario? CAVT can be done very easily, valve repair can be done, replacement can be done, arrhythmia surgeries can be done, and congenital heart disease, specifically VSD, ASD and pathology, can be done very easily with a minimal invasive surgery. So if you see the incision, traditional sternotomy incision, you have to cut this bone, so this incision is almost 20 to 30 centimeter in size, whereas in mid-cap, you have to go between the space, around 4th or 5th intercostal space, and it is around sub-mammary incision, so you will lift the breast and you can do the surgery. Whereas in TCAV and RCAV, we have multiple ports, and zippered ports. From one port we have to insert a camera, another port we have to insert a forceps, and we do surgery. So it is basically a direct incision, direct visualization, it is a cosmetic. Coronary complete revascularization can be done, and it's very small size, and it's an anterolateral thoracotomy or lower meniscenotomy. Sometimes we incise the lower part of the sternum or upper part of the sternum. For CAVT, usually lower part of the sternum, and for aortic valve or mitral valve, we do a lower or upper medial sternum. Which are the branches of coronary can be bypassed with mid-cap is LAD, diagonal, ramus, obtuse marginal, PDA and PLB can be approached. PDA and PLB can be approached in a selected patient. When there is a high bifurcation of right coronary artery, it is a little bit difficult to approach that particular vessel. But if the PDA is long, going up to the apex in the inferior wall, in that case we can easily do even PDA and PLB.
You cannot do right one.
We can do right also, sir, but we require a specific instrument, and the patient LV has to be good. But heart should not be bulky, because you have to really retract that heart. Whereas if it is a bulky heart and very high bifurcation of RCA, in that case we cannot do. I am coming to that. There is one specific slide in which patient we should not do minimal invasive. So basically this was started in 1996 by Benetti and Calipari, and they said that this procedure is left anterior small thoracotomy last. And this is the same procedure which is now known as MICAS. And MICAS traditionally in Western world they are doing only to lima to LAD in a proximal LAD stenosis or proximal LAD stenosis. But Indian surgeons are more into op-care and they have used this procedure for a left-sided all vessel and they have gone up to the right-side vessels also. So in mid-cap also there are three different types depending on the which vessel you are targeting. Traditionally we do only this anterior mid-cap, but if you require to do only one graft or ramus or OM or something like that, you can do mid-lateral mid-cap, or if you require very lateral OMs only, at that time lateral mid-cap also, PLP and OM2, for that we require this. So what are the advantage and it's compared to the regular sternotomy CABG? In mid-cap there is no sternotomy. CPB is rarely used and if it is required we can use it with the femoral bypass. Operating time is almost half, 2 to 3 hours only. And recovery time, patient can start job, driving and all routine activity in 2 weeks. Effectiveness is almost same as CABG. The incision length is almost 1/3. And the advantages are there is no blood transfusion required if the patient hemoglobin is more than 12. And if at all it requires, the blood transfusion is almost compared to the traditional CABG, it is almost 1/3 or 1/4. Less time under anesthesia, less ICU and hospital stay, less pain and discomfort, and less infection. In fact, there is no mediastinitis in this, and reduce overall cost. In India, the cost is more, but if you in the Western world, in US, the same procedure compared to the traditional CABG, the cost is less because of in US surgical cost is different and the hospital accommodation cost is different. Now, hospital accommodation cost is huge amount. So, if you reduce a length of stay, definitely it will reduce the overall cost of. In India, it is more. If you say, suppose traditional CABG we charge 1.5 lakh rupees, but for minimal invasive we charge 3 lakh rupees. Whereas in USA, they charge $60,000 to $70,000 for a CABG traditional, and for this they charge $30,000 to $40,000. So if you compare, but over a period of time, when the number goes up and the instrument will become cheap here, and after that the cost will come down here also in India. So when not to do minimal invasive? Bad target, intramyocardial vessels, severe aortic dysfunction, emergency situation like failed plastic in the theatre, blood pressure is fault, hemodynamic instability, patient is throwing arrhythmias, morbid obesity. If there is a past history of tuberculosis or some infection in the chest and pleural aeration, trauma, past history and infection in the chest, COPD, bad COPD, these are relative. The blue one is the relative contraindication. Like supraventricular arrhythmias, we can still tackle with the mid-cap, but if the patient is throwing alarming ventricular tachycardia, in that case we cannot do mid-cap. Severe peripheral vascular disease is relative contraindication because in emergency, if you need to go on heart-lung machine, fem-fem bypass is not possible if you have a bad PVD. Another thing is renal failure, another relative contraindication because in this procedure you are retracting the heart in an extreme way. So during the procedure, especially grafting, you will have a subclinical hypotension and during that time, we don't want any renal failure patient to go. Yes, renal failure with patient is on dialysis, no issue, you can go ahead and do mid-cap because anyway patient is on dialysis. And so if you see the result, the 1 year result, the MACE rate is just 4%. And in hospital, MACE rate is 1%. Procedure time is almost 2 to 3 hours. and time to extubation is just 6 hours, and hospital stay is 3 to 4 days, and results are compared to the normal super.
Here I want to ask you, patient is in triple vessel disease and you want to put 3 grafts, obviously you will go for stenotomy, not MICAS.
Well, it depends, sir.
Well, you put 2 incisions of MICAS.
No,
I don't know.
with single incision you can do everything.
Triple vessel you can.
Yeah, triple vessel.
You're including right if the right.
Right, if the PD and PLB is high, it's going up to apex on inferior wall, it's a good quality size, then only we can do mid-cap. If it is a high bifurcation or it is chronic total occluded, the base is left dominant system and left sided vessels. So this was the patient. We started with a single vessel, 40-year male, 55 kg weight, thin and in the same photograph which was the first photograph. Patient has a recent anterior wall MI in the periphery and it was thrombolized. And patient had an osteoproximal LAD critical and right dominant system, right was absolutely normal. Patient has a moderate LV dysfunction, 40% ejection fraction. And what we did, Darshan pushed this patient to us for a minimal injury because we had. Normally we keep a supine position, but in this a little bit elevation of the left side, and we have to mark all the sternal markings where exactly, because in emergency we need to open in some time. So submemory incision, there are special instruments required. This is a memory retractor, and you can see the rod. Over this rod, this memory retractor itself is costing 5 lakh rupees for us. And we have to use headlight because routine overhead lights will not work. So headlight costs us a 4.5 lakh
You do
rupees.
memory retention?
Memories. These are special retractors. The advantage of this Lima harvest, traditionally you can't approach nicely the top end of the left internal memory artery. Whereas in minimal image it is just in front of you. And it is very easy to dissect. In fact, if you see, there is a long instrument, even the carotid tip is long. The carotid tip is very long, almost 10 to 15 centimeter long, and it is a collapsible tip, so you can reduce the size of the carotid also. Very easy to harvest left internal memory. The difficult part in this is the lower end, whereas in traditionally, we can very easily harvest Lima lower end. Top end is difficult in a traditional sternotomy incision. Then you have to lift that heart, push the heart in the incision cavity. You have to take pericardial stitches and you have to lift the, you can say like marsupialization. So lift the heart with the pericardial stay. You can see a lot of stay sutures. And then routine what the way we do CABG. Same way. In fact, I was more comfortable doing the anastomosis compared to the traditional CABG in anterior vessel and a diagonal. The most common problem, suppose the patient fibrillate, because normally we have internal paddles. Here we don't have internal paddles. So either we have to use pediatric paddle or there is external leaking patches are available. So if the patches are not there, you can't do this surgery. So we have applied, if you see the first slide in a position, there is the 2 patches over here. So with that, the leafing machine is attached. So whenever we require, we can give a shot. So that patches are disposable one. The cost is almost 5,000 rupees for the patch. Otherwise, the standard routine instruments, no other instrument. In mid-cap, we are using the regular instrument for a bypass. Even the needle holder, the forceps, only during the harvest of memory, you require a long instrument, long scissor and long clip applicator. This octopus is also routine octopus what we are using, but there are specific octopus are available by Medtronic for positioning of ramus, positioning of the lateral vessel, inferior vessels, easily it can be done with that. But the cost of that octopus is, this is a final incision, it's just 11 centimeter in size. Only one chest tube. This is the final appearance after the. So multi-vessel grafting is possible with MICAS with a special long instrument and a heart stabilizer. Even the bilateral memory can be harvested. There is a separate RIMA retractor, but that accessories are almost 8 to 10 lakh rupees, but it can be done. The proximal anastomosis also can be done and ascending aorta with a special octopus. You have to push the pulmonary artery with that octopus and you can assess the ascending aorta. You have to loop that aorta and partially clear. Another thing is, before this procedure, CT scan is must, CT contrast CT, because ascending aorta, if there is a heavy calcification, we cannot do any manipulation of ascending aorta. So proximal anastomosis can be done with a special heart stabilizer, and nowadays the anastomotic devices are also available. It is like punch. You just punch it, the proximal anastomosis is fixed with the aorta. But that devices are not commonly available, and only an experimental basis available. But it can be done. It is just like our clip applicator, the stainless steel clip. The clips are there. You just push it, it will be fixed within a 1 second, 1 minute. The whole anastomosis is over. So you have a limited access. You reduce the pressure to 40-50, punch it, and anastomosis is done. You don't require, because normal anastomosis takes around 6 to 10 minutes. Construction of proximal anastomosis. Whereas here, if you have a device, tuck, within 2 minutes, both the proximal is there. All left-sided vessels are possible to graft very easily. Right-sided, long, good quality PDA and PLD is feasible to graft. Short PDA, type 1 LAD, intramyocardial LAD, diacalcific native coronary usually should not be attempted, and less than 1.5 mm size vessel should not be attempted. Sir, LAD, there are basically 3 types. Type 1, type 2 and type 3. If LAD, it goes up to apex, it is, and crossing the apex and going into inferior, then it is called as type 3. If it is just reaching before the apex, it is called type 2. And if it is not going beyond the 1/3 or 2/3 of the anterior septum, then it is called type 1. Whenever you have a type 1 LAD, you have a super dominant right. When you have a type 3 LAD, you have a non-dominant right. Usually the coronary, basically it is a congenital coronary circulation. So different type of circulation. So based on that only we decide whether which vessel to graft with the arterial graft, venous graft. Suppose I have a type 3 LAD, I cannot leave that LAD without the arterial graft. But if I have a type 1 LAD, if I wanted to add, type 1 LAD you don't attempt, you don't require to attempt. In that situation, either diagonal will be very dominant or the right is very dominant. In that case, you put the arterial graft on right. That is more, for a long term, it is a good. So type 1 LAD, usually you won't get on table. You won't see that vessel. You have to really dig on anterior septum. You have to go almost 1 centimeter inside and do that. Even the most of the surgeons, I have tried 2 or 3 times, we have grafted, it works well, but you have to put a venous graft in there. Yes, hybrid revascularization, suppose one patient who requires left side of vessel, right side, discrete lesion, good target, you can ask your fellow cardiologist to put a stent on right side and do minimal invasive. So you have advantage of both. For a discrete right sided lesion, you put a good quality bare metal stent or good quality medicated stent, which will give fantastic result. Whereas in left side, you put 2 or 3 arterial graft and the patient will have a fantastic long-term results. So technical adjuvant in a beating heart surgery comparison of mid-cap to off-pump sternotomy, a meta-analysis says the stabilizers, which is specifically there for mid-cap, reduce the risk and are essential tool in both mid-cap and beating heart surgery. And it encourages the further use of minimal invasive approaches. Minimal invasive direct coronary artery bypass grafting, 2-year clinical experience by Subramanian, is a very famous US surgeon. He said that it's safe and effective, and they are doing regularly since 1994 to 1996, and they are coming up with the 15-year results. So limitations are bulky heart, obesity, instrumentation, single lung ventilation. Now that is also very important. Most of the patients you require a single lung ventilation. Single lung ventilation means normally we put an endotracheal tube, whereas here you do put endobronchial tube. Because when you are operating the left side chest cavity, I don't want any left lung movement at all. So patient is only on right lung. So you require a bronchoscope to put the anesthetist should put a endobronchial tube, and whenever I want, at that time he has to block that left sided bronchus. So the only lung isolation will be there. So that is a technically little difficult part if the anesthetist is not good. So sometimes you have to take a help of either ENT surgeon or a pulmonologist to intubate the patient. Re-exploration. If the patient is bleeding, at that time you have to go again. It's very difficult in a bleeding situation. If there is a minimal bleeding, yes, you can easily tackle through the same incision. But if there is a blowout or something like that, traditional incision, it's very quick. Even in ICU, we open the chest. We have opened in last 10 years 3 patients in ICU, all 3 saved in an emergency situation. Open the chest within 2 minutes or 1 minute, and you start doing massage, put a finger on the bleeding point, and if a good headlight is there, you can suture there only, and then sit the patient in the theatre, stabilize the patient. Formally you do hemostasis, and then again you get back the patient to the ICU. But here, I will tell you one example. One very beautiful, good-looking Saudi Arabian female, 18 years, very, very rich and royal family. They came to us in Amruta ICU. In Amruta, we did one of the longest series of minimal invasive congenital series. ASD, BSD and PD. They wanted a minimal invasive only because she was a female, and that too from a royal family. And if you see that, no model or no Bollywood actress can match that beauty. Our boss did that surgery. And the patient was extubated in 4 hours, shifted to ward in first day. Second day there was a chance of discharge. And that the RA suture line gave up. You won't believe, we have revived that patient, we have shifted that patient, we have opened the chest, we put the patient on heart-lung machine. By the time we went, the whole cardiac output was a right side thoracotomic cavity. We revived that patient. But the patient was brain dead for almost 1 month. Only little movement was there. She went with a cerebral dysfunction and disability. But the thing is that that's the reason that whenever this procedure we are doing, we have to doubly sure that all suture lines should be doubly repaired. Not the CABG. CABG usually they don't bleed. And if they bleed at that particular time. Whereas in cardiopulmonary bypass case, you are opening the heart cavity. So at that time, if it starts bleeding, you have to rush very emergently. So that is one example. We have done 300 patients. Only this patient had a problem. None of the patients we had any problem. We revived her. She is now, I don't know, now almost 11 years. What happened with that girl also we don't know. But I was on duty, we rushed, we shifted the patient, and in ICU only we started the heart-lung machine. We had a peripheral cannula, femoral cannula. And with the femoral arterial line, you just pushing that cannula and start the heart-lung machine. And open the chest, suck all the blood into heart-lung machine so that blood blood loss will not be there. So another thing is redo surgery. Now redo, there are two thoughts. Some people say the redo is very easy with the minimal injury. Suppose traditional mitral valve repair is done. Now after 10 years, mitral valve replacement you need to do. You start from thoracotomy, it's very easy because you are not addressing the adhesion on anterior chest. But at same place you start doing redo, it will be very difficult. So people are saying the redo in the same, suppose minimal invasive done and you are doing minimal invasive again, it is difficult. But sternotomy incision, somebody has done surgery and now you have to do redo, this is easy. Redo, CME is difficult. Suppose associated other cardiac procedures, suppose the patient is having a mitral valve and at the same time patient is having some LV clot or LA appendage clot you can remove, but you wanted to do, because right side procedure you are doing through the, you require lima to LAD, the same patient. At that time you cannot do with the minimal invasive. Hand-eye coordination, that is most important. A surgeon who is having a little tremor also, they cannot do mid-cap. Because these are long instruments. Long instrument you are holding very distantly. Even little tremor, it will extenuate the tremor at the tip. The tip will move like a flutter. So the chances of damage to the grafts are very high with the quarter tip and the forceps. So hand-eye coordination is required. So this is the same thing, the control of fulcrum movement and tremors is absolutely must. The surgeon has to have a very stable hand. And that is complete coronary revascularization, question mark, because complete coronary revascularization you require to do right side graft if there is a. So not in all cases we can do, but in a selected patient definitely we can do. And there are those surgeons who don't do minimal invasive, they always question that is it really minimal invasive? So it is not a minimal invasive. I will also say it is, you are inciting the chest, you are opening the chest, you are opening the pericardium. Sometimes I am putting the patient on heart-lung machine also. So I would say it is minimal invasive, but the more is it is a cosmetic procedure. So conclusion is that mid-cap can be done for a single vessel, double vessel, selected TBD. Best thing is osteoproximal LAD with type 3 LAD, single vessel. You will have a fantastic, lima to LAD you put, the patient will have 20-25 years without any problem. Double vessel, yes, circumflex, left main, distal left main, good OM and good LAD, put 2 graft, patient will have very good long-term result. It is a safe, reproducible, until and unless you have a good instrumentation. You have to have a defib patch, you have to have a headlight, you have to have a proper instrument. Without proper instrument, you can't do this. Two instrument is not there, okay, can we go ahead? No, it should not be like that. You have to have full set. Because to address any complication, you require special instruments. Quick post-op recovery, less hospital stay, return to work in 2 weeks. Incision is cosmetic, less cost compared to traditional CMD. Complete coronary revascularization, arterial graft is a key for long-term result of CMD. And practice is the key. We need to come out of our comfort zone because we are now comfortable doing traditional CMD. Open the chest, harvest the graft, put the graft, shift the patient. 3 years, no thinking. Now we are not thinking, we are mechanically working at the spinal level. Whereas here, every moment you are thinking. And over a period of time, I think that will also become a comfort zone for most of the surgeons. Then there is a resistance from our senior and other staff since safety is the key. OT staff also, they don't want to come out of their comfort zone. Even seniors they will always discourage because they will think like that traditional CABG ka kya hoga? Hum to traditional, they don't want to change. Senior people will have little tremors also. So when we talk in our forum,
where tremor?
Tremor in the hands, sir.
In the brain also.
Brain also, yeah. So that's all, sir. So vision is the capacity to see the invisible. that inspire us to do the impossible, and we have a progress is very intense. So we are progressing for MICAS. We have done, now we have ordered, and we have 2 or 3 patients for waiting for MICAS.
2 questions.
Yes, sir.
So now, you are also doing here just now, so before the new machine comes, you are using the old machines for this procedure?
Machine.
Right now they are having a demo machine.
So
Demo set.
there are 2 companies only who are making this instrument. So what they have a demo instrument set. Okay. So whenever I have, suppose tomorrow I have a case, I have to book that. Till my instrument comes, that instrument comes.
Demonstration.
Correct.
Not holding.
And the second thing, how open is the bone sternum infection in the
Mid-cap there is no bone infection.
No, in the standard one. What is it?
Less than 1%.
Is the
Diabetes most. Diabetes most.
No sir, the thing is that those patients who are having COPD harvested both the bilateral memories. Patient is having a low cardiac output, bad diabetes. These are the patients are high risk. In last 2 years I have only 1 milliasparagus. And in 10 years I have total 10 milliasparagus. I have operated more than 3.5 thousand procedures in that 10 patients. And on this 10 I have not lost even single. All we have done plastic surgery procedure, and they are all fine. So the thing is that in this there is no opening of the sternum. Infection occurs, that too in a stitches only. Nothing happens to the chest, and sometimes some localized collection that we can aspirate later.
One small question.
Thank you.
Do you think that conventional CABG will be outdated?
110%.
No. In some situation, we will go for it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Obvious.
So it is not going to be outdated.
It's like laparoscopy and open.
I'm coming to
Standard
Standard
stable angina. I give my statement. Sir. Standard stable angina with a good target pressure. This surgery is going to be remain for a long time. In fact, I am telling you, we are
coming
also.
in different ways. Sir.
Yeah.
So now we are having several class of surgeons. Old surgeons who are well tuned with the conventional surgery, like open gallbladder surgery, that's such. Right? Huh? Now that art is gradually going away and is being taken up by the laparoscopy. Right? And that art is also being taken away by the robotics.
Absolutely.
Right? Robotics. Right? So there are 3 scenarios as such. Now when the person is well versed with the robotic or well versed with the minimal invasive as such, and if he faces the problem, probably open, he has not learned.
No,
So that's the whole thing.
Open is
Right?
difficult. That happens
He has
with
not
gallbladder
seen-
surgery. That
He
happens
has-
with gallbladder surgery.
He has not seen, he has
Yeah.
not learned as such.
Yeah.
So it has become the history.
Yeah.
પણ એકચ્યુઅલી સર રોબોટિક વાળા માટે લેપ્રોસ્કોપિક અને પેલું આવડવું કમ્પલસરી છે તો જ એ રોબોટિક માટે જઈ શકે
I-
છે
I
રોબોટિક
will- I will
person
give-
cannot learn directly robotic it is
Sir,
impossible to manage
I will
robot
give- Sir,
કારણ
I
કે રોબોટ અલ્ટિમેટલી તમારે મહેનત તો તમારે જાતે જ કરવાનો છે
પણ જ્યારે ઓપન કરવાનું આવે
It's very
છે,
difficult.
Sir, I will give one fantastic example. Sir, when I joined here, there was a surgeon called Ajay Patil. You must have seen him. Okay. Now he has not done heart-lung machine on perm CABG at all. He has done directly beating heart surgery. He was doing almost 100% beating heart. 100% beating. Fantastic surgeon. But heart-lung machine, he will really fumble.
Yes.
He will really fumble. He does not know what to do now.
What to do?